What's up, people? Just sitting out here at the lake, relaxing, trying to get my mind clear. Show that to you. Catching a cool breeze. Just thought I would kind of just have a conversation, if you will. Um, I spent the last couple of weeks really trying to hone in as to what is really happening in the world. Well, not the whole world, but like really what's happening as far as business relationships, church, I guess, are concerned with me. Um, Even more like how do you maximize this upcoming season? Posted something yesterday that basically said, you know, we have a correction in the market once a year. We have five. It crashes every 5 years or so, and we're about 8 years into this bull market. Um, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do, and are you prepared for the crash that has to happen? And so that brings me to an interesting place as to how am I preparing the company for this before this next phase of business. So, I mean, one of the things that I always want to do. Hey there, young man. How's it going?
Got you a nice chill spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch some breeze.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel it indeed.
One of the things that I really want to be in a position to do, and I really only caught this one time before it was in the real estate market, is to be able to capitalize on a crash, if you will. Um, so I instructed some people to start hoarding up some cash flow, um, liquidating some cash. Before I was a very much, I try to make my money work all the time. I always wanted to be in a position where it's working for me, whether that's stock, bonds, real estate, whatever. Um, but right now, I want some liquidity so that I can make some major purchases the next time there's a big downturn. So my question to you, I guess, is what are you doing not only to prepare for what is starting to look like an exciting economy, um, but what are you doing to prepare yourself for the economy when it shifts? And I'm talking more than just being able to weather a shift. I'm really talking about, are you positioning yourself to capitalize on a shift? And so that just hit me. That just hit my spirit. Um, Not even talking crash. We're talking shifts. Are you in a place, or are you preparing not just to be able to make it through a shift? Lots of people have rainy day funds or some stuff set aside so that we often talk about, at least with me, if you've followed me for a while, I often talk about diversified revenue streams. Right now, I have about 20 different revenue streams. And so when one gets washed up, or I decide I no longer want to work in that area, do something, I can easily change. Um, Gary Vee said something the other day that I found incredibly interesting, and I hadn't really thought about this. And it had to do with, what is your main dish? What is the steak and potatoes of your company? What is that piece there? And then what are side dishes? Um, and he said that a lot of people have a lot of side dishes, but don't have any main dish. And that really got me thinking, have I diversified my revenue streams to a point where I have nothing of substance? That's a question. There's nothing, there's no steak. There's a lot of potatoes. Not potatoes, but there's a lot of salads and appetizers and side dishes. There's something, nothing major, but that's definitely something to think about and consider as you diversify yourself. But even past diversification, are you prepared to capitalize on a shift? Capitalizing on a shift means that you have to have some resources available. It also means you need to have some plans and strategies already written out. Like right now is not the time, or in the near future, I should say, will not be the time for you to try to think it through or try to get together a plan. Like right now, while things are going smooth, create a plan, one that just not doesn't get you through a shift, but allows you to make a huge change in your paradigm so that you come out of the shift better than you started. The principles of business: buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. That is a fundamental principle of success and in business. And so, are you prepared to be in a place where you can, buy real estate in this next season at 30 and 40 cents on the dollar? Will you be in a position to buy, well-known brands at 20 cents on the dollar? How wonderful would it have been to be in a position to buy Toys R Us? Not even their inventory. I could care less about the inventory. To buy the brand name. And I believe someone's going to end up with that brand name with all the brand equity in it at 10, 15, maybe, even less than that, 5 cents on a dollar, and be able to turn Toys R Us into an animation company or something like that. Someone, and it's probably Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, or someone talked about how Marvel and even DC were, for all intents and purposes, failing comic book companies until they were bought out and made into a movie and media enterprise. So I believe there is the ability for you in a huge shift that's going to happen, a huge correction in the marketplace, to buy some things at a low price and be able to come out of this and make some money. And again, the shift in thinking is, I may buy something, but there is a better marketplace for the name or the brand to dwell in that'll make me a lot of money. I think the music business is ripe for this kind of takeover. A fundamental shift in how publishing is paid. Buy low, sell high. I think there are a number of brands, vintage brands, that are available or will be available that people can buy. Real estate. I mean, I think one of the best parts to think about is, how do we source our food? Can we buy up a number of neighborhoods, revamp how they look, how they feel, do it at a cheap price? Shouldn't even say cheap. Do it at a rock bottom price in terms of acquisition, and create communities that are vibrant in 10 to 15 years. Are you positioned are you positioned not just to survive a shift, but are you positioned to capitalize on a shift? And so, that's what I'm sitting here, out here at the water. I'll show it to you. That's what I'm out here thinking. and again, that side note piece of it is in the role of diversification of your revenue streams. Have you identified the revenue stream that is going to be your steak and potatoes? That's the meat. That is the main dish of your business. And then what are side dishes? And so you spend 80% in your main dish and 20% or so in your side dishes. That made me pause for a little while. It's making me go back through. If I had to go into another frame of thought, again, these are just some thoughts. I ain't got no real topic. I'm just kind of here spitballing and throwing things out in the atmosphere. You can sacrifice yourself for the good of other people to a point where they live and you die. What I'm saying is, like, I have, I've been working on a project, which probably should have been a side dish. Made it my main dish, and as a result, I go back. I'm looking at my website, and I haven't updated my website in 2 or 3 years. Same look. Of course, there's some new articles on there, but just the consistency of what I've done on the website has been piss poor. Even have staff, with having staff members to work it, there isn't a signature that's mine because I've been preoccupied with a side dish. I look at some projects that should have been the catalyst to financial security in my main company, in my main dish, put on the back burner while I played around with the side dish. And I'm looking at domain names that I've owned for 4 years, 4 or 5 years, and should have launched 3 years ago, and have not launched. And as I, and there's a couple of factors. One is it's side dishes, but another one is that perfection, procrastination masquerading as perfection. Trying to be so perfect in the launch when really it is a procrastination, a form of procrastination. But I've owned domains for 4 and 5 years, have not launched, and now that I am in a position, to launch, facing competition that I did not have in that niche marketplace 4 or 5 years ago. And I often tell people I'm never really afraid of competition. It's about market share, not about competition for me. If I can gather a piece of market share, then I'll usually be successful in it. I don't need a lot of people. I need 1,000 people in most of my business ventures, 1,000 customers, to do 6 figures in a month. 1,000 people. So I don't need a lot. And, I think, for most small business, 1,000 people seems, overwhelming. But when you figure there's 365 million people in the United States, give or take, and 1 or 2 billion people in the whole world, gathering a small sliver of those to raise their hand to say that there's a product or something that Byrdology, or a service that Byrdology does that I need, is a small thing. So yeah, now I gotta go in and I gotta think, because I could have dominated that niche marketplace with no competition, and with with being able to shape exactly what the niche marketplace looks like. But now I'm gonna have to do some leg work. Now, the flip side of that, of jumping into an industry, jumping into a niche marketplace that has some competition or has other people who are sharing in the marketplace, is that it lessens your education dollars. What I mean by that, when you're new to market and you're new to a marketplace or creating a new marketplace that people don't really know about, there is, past even just awareness, there is education. You have to educate the market as to who you are and to why the services you are offering are worth anything. What's the value of the services? That is based on, they need to have that education. And so you spend a lot of money in the education. The awareness phase is cool, but the education, this is who we are, this is why it's important, this is why you need this product. Spend a lot of money in that. When you are getting into a marketplace that has some competition, the education dollars are spread. You're not carrying the burden yourself. So it's a give and take, but I should have moved. I should have moved several years ago on some of these things. And in reality, it's not my fault. It's no one else's fault. It's because I made a side dish my main dish. And whereas the majority of my time should have been reflected into my steak and potatoes company, I spent all my time in desserts and salads. And so take that home. Take that home. That's two really good points for you. Are you positioned to not only make it through a shift, to live through a shift, but are you positioned to capitalize on a shift? And then the second part of that is, have you made your side dish your main dish? Or and I should say, do you have a bunch of side dishes and no main dish? All right, people. Richard Byrd. Talk to you later. Peace.